The central focus of the campus here at the Institute of American Indian Arts is our dance circle. The 4 cardinal directions, solstice and equinox are marked. Then the campus buildings radiate out from that. If you look out to the east, you can see all the way to the sunrise. That's important. That's how we start our day, and that's when we have the most energy. And I get a sense of the sacredness of the campus.
This is actually an international school. We are different nations. We are not all Native American. We are Kiowa, Comanche, Seminole, Chumash. We speak different languages. Our spirituality is different. We are different Native nations.
The school considers background and considers cultural identity and considers post-colonial stress disorder when it comes to students and our artistic expressions.
The college attracts Indigenous students from across the country and Canada as well. It's important that students have an opportunity to really hone their creativity from all of their different communities and cultures.
It was hard at first to do the cast for the metal cast for the bolo because it was too thin and we didn't have the right size box to do the cast, so it wasn't coming.
Native people have been making things and adorning ourselves since the beginning of time. Adorning every object in our life. Everything is imbued with imagery and story and connections to our surroundings, to each other, and that is the very core of what craft is.
It was really hard. I couldn't.
And just about every student who comes in here already has that knowledge because they've grown up in an Indian family. I came to IAIA with the knowledge of my own tribe's really rich silversmithing history, but the techniques that I learned at the school were more contemporary techniques, basic jewelry skills, casting, and different types of fabricating. You can't build a house without a foundation, right?
I knew I just wanted to become an artist. I wanted to explore every little thing. I'm very much a jack of all trades, so when I came to IAIA, put all my effort into it. My exhibition is about the ancestral teachings that come from our grandparents, our great-grandparents.
These are stars that they offer guidance to my people. They show us when we have our ceremonies, what time of year it is, what season we're in. They guide us. Then you look in the portal, you see yourself in the stars. It is something amazing to be around other Indigenous artists, to be able to speak art and breathe art with them. We can make art and use iconography from our tribes or just different values that we put into our work that is just understood.
That's a value, I think, to have Indigenous voices there in terms of the faculty and staff and other students who understand that Indigenous perspective. Those are guiding principles from the original founders of this institution. IAIA was founded in 1962, and we started as a BIA school, the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Of course, the purpose of most BIA schools was to assimilate the Indigenous students, but here it was different. It was Lloyd Kivanu's vision and philosophy that's the foundation for the programming here. Students brought their traditions and histories and cultures to us, and then they were able to innovate with their creative expression beyond the boundaries of traditional Indigenous art. So as a result, we became the birthplace of contemporary Indigenous art.
Being here really opened my eyes to what art could be. I was able to see that there's actually all sorts of mediums and styles, and geometric abstraction is something I was really drawn to. My current studio practice is ledger drawing. With ledger drawing, our foundation to draw on is antique ledger accounting sheets from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Our traditional ledger art is very figurative, it's very representational. There are a lot of people, horses, ceremonial scenes. I grew up seeing my father work. He does traditional ledger art, so that's why it's important to me. It's because of my family, it's because it's a way of recording our history. A lot of the geometric forms I'm using are directly influenced by Blackfoot painted lodges. We had a lot of geometric symbols symbolizing mountains, sun, moon. So I'm continuing these geometric forms that have been here in North America for thousands of years, but in a modern way.
What you see here is one step in the process of chulkat weaving, taking the guard hairs of the Janwu, the Alaska mountain goat, and then processing it down into the point where one can spin with it. The Janwu comes from the top of the mountain, and I really, in my own personal practice, view it as being this sort of spiritual being. And so being able to work with it in this regard is, I think, just a huge honor for myself, just to process it, to kind of have good intention when you're working with it is just highly important. Chulkat weaving is a way to tell a story, a way of honoring tradition, clan histories, a way of connecting ourselves to the land that we're from. Connections like that really kind of keep the momentum going and the inspiration.
IAIA really is a hub of creativity that really is unfettered. As a professional metalsmith who has been successful with my career, I had a pretty robust skill set, but being exposed to all these different mediums like printmaking, jewelry, sculpture, photography, this school has really enabled that exploration of different disciplines. And I'd like to say the medium finds you. I ended up having an emphasis in ceramics, which is really fascinating considering the Pueblo that I come from. We are known as potters. We're not known as jewelers. That just kind of came out, and there was a connectedness that's there. I think it's just kind of inherent within the Native culture that the skill set and the talent is in the arts. And so the craft or the art is passed on from one generation to the next, and it becomes part of who they are.
It's important for me to pass on to my students to be proud of who you are and know your cultural ways and use that to create.
There's a community here at the Institute of American Indian Arts, and the commencement ceremony, that's where it's the most beautiful. We offer degrees in contemporary indigenous arts and cultures, and that's unique to the world.
The student represents their tribal identity. They become ambassadors of their tribe.
You're not just artists or writers or filmmakers, you are cultural stewards. Thank you all so much. Congratulations, and be fierce!
When they go back to their cultural communities, they carry on the legacy of what IAIA has taught them.
What we do as Native people, those words that we use for what we do, we're makers. Being with the community of other Native peers, all learning and experiencing this, making such beautiful work, so inspired, and just that interconnectivity that we have, that's all we have as human beings.
IAIA is a place that is in between that contemporary art world and rooted in traditional values and traditional work. And it's a way for us as Native people from all different walks of life, from the city and from the res and from just down the street and from all different ways of seeing the world, there's that underlying core of nativeness that holds us together.
As with any community, you give, but you also receive so much inspiration and excitement about what's possible. The more that the Native arts community can collaborate and communicate and address issues that are present in our world, in our life, the better, right?